Whenever you think of the fastest cars on Earth, what comes to mind? If you're like me, it's cars that cost well over 7 figures, can easily top 200 miles an hour, and most likely will exist either in your imagination, on the internet, or if you're still into this sort of thing, on your bedroom wall. But as was famously quoted by everybody from famous TV presenters all the way down to well-known authors, there's only one type of vehicle that truly deserves the title of being the fastest car you'll ever know. Because, as you may have heard before, the fastest car is a rental car. Now, I know many of you are ready to click away from this video already, but stay tuned because today, well, the purpose of this video is not a car review, and it's not anything that I'm sure many of you expected me to even be talking about. But the value of the US dollar, as a lot of people will tell you, has just gone completely out of sight, and everybody is looking to save money where they can. And after all of the COVID shenanigans that we had to go through for many years, once the travel restrictions opened up, people started looking for the best and most inexpensive ways to travel around. Hence the reason why I decided to put a rental car on my channel instead of something brand new. Because yes, this car isn't even the newest version of the Volkswagen Jetta. It's hardly been cleaned, to be fair with you, and it's done 46,000 very hard driven miles. But I got this car for an absolute steal at the rental counter. And you might think of this video as my own personal travel tip to you. Yes, the rental car is not going to be exactly your biggest expense when it comes to traveling outside of airfare, hotel rooms, Airbnbs, and other expenses. But if you know how to play your cards right, you may very easily be able to save the most amount of money with just a few simple little tips. Now, I hope a good few of you are still with me because the first tip that I have could easily be the biggest one out of them all. And that is, when you're doing your research, finding out your preferred rental agency that you want to go through, comparing fares and so on, do a little bit more research because 9 out of 10 of these huge name rental car companies will offer some kind of rewards program that most often costs nothing to sign up for. For example, I rented this Jetta through Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and no, they are not paying me or sponsoring me in any way for me to say that. I just happen to have been a very loyal Enterprise customer for about as many years as I've been able to rent a vehicle at all. Now, in this time frame, I also discovered something called Enterprise Plus. It cost me nothing to sign up with, and now I am earning points towards future rentals, and it uncovered a few perks that even I wasn't expecting to begin with. So, when I went looking for this particular rental car to only have for about a day, I was looking for the literal cheapest car that they had. And if they were still making cars like these, it would have been something like a Mitsubishi Mirage or a Chevrolet Spark. But of course, neither of those cars really exist anymore. So that leaves them with the next stage up, which would have been a compact car. Now, I would have easily said, sure, I'll take that. But because of that Enterprise Plus membership, not only did I get a little bit of a discount towards this particular rental, but they also upgraded me yet another class of car. So this isn't an economy car or a compact car. This is what Enterprise classifies as a standard size car. And yet I got it for the price of the economy car. That to me is a bargain. And I'll go ahead and say it. I paid less than $50 for one solid day with this class of car. This car right here would normally cost you probably $75, $80, maybe even more on its worst day, and also depending on where you rent from, i.e. if you rent at an airport, yeah, you're gonna be paying a little bit more, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But nonetheless, I basically got a much bigger car, a little bit of a financial discount, and I got rewards points towards future rentals, all by signing up for a rewards program that cost me nothing. Again, nothing to start with. Now, you did just hear me make mention of it just a little bit, but if you are flying into your next destination, well, be prepared to possibly pay just a little bit more to rent a vehicle at the airport. I actually rented this particular car from a standalone Enterprise office right here in North Houston. Now, to prove the point, I decided to compare the fare that I got this car for from the one at George Bush Intercontinental Airport, about a 20-minute drive away from home. And Come to find out that because of the tax bracket that the airport sits in, even though they may have a bigger rental fleet and a wider breadth of cars to choose from, it was quite a bit more. I won't say it was near $100, but after taxes and everything, you would have been nudging up towards that mark instead of paying under $50 for the same car at a standalone office. So even if you might have to take a cheap Uber to get to your rental car office, it could potentially be an expense that's worth paying instead of paying for convenience getting your car directly from the airport. So you've arrived at your destination, you've made your reservation and checked yourself in, and now you're standing at the rental agency's ticket counter. Herein lies tip number 3. Do yourself a favor, and even though you may have read every single piece of fine print on the rental company's website, rediscuss with the rental agent what sort of coverages they may offer with their vehicles. Even if you have the best car insurance in the world, something like a damage waiver, which in the case of this Jetta here would have run me about an extra $20 for the entire day just to cover any sort of damages that may occur to the vehicle, well, that could be a much bigger lifesaver than paying, I don't know, out of pocket, or even having your insurance rates go up, even if you have the best coverage of them all, should you find yourself in the unfortunate incident of inflicting or incurring damage on your rental vehicle while it's in your care. All right, we're getting closer to finally getting on the roads, but before you do, tip number 4, they don't always do this at every rental location I've ever had, but make sure that you and your rental agent do a walk around of the vehicle once it is ultimately presented to you. Now, having rented from the airport a good few times, you don't always get this kind of service unless it is maybe a specific rental company that you're dealing with. In the case of the enterprise office, when I went to pick up this Jetta here, the agent was kind enough to request me to walk around the vehicle with them and document any damages. But do yourself a favor, pull out your phone, and even if you don't have all the space in your Google Drive, take as many photos of not only the damage, but the vehicle itself as you possibly can. Trust me, there is nothing worse than going to turn your vehicle back in and having the rental agency suddenly ding you for a damage that was already on the vehicle when you picked it up. So you've researched everything, you've discussed all the options with your rental agency, the vehicle's been presented to you, you've documented everything properly. The last tip is grab the keys, put all your stuff in the trunk or wherever you decide to put it, and go enjoy yourself. And even if you're an enthusiast like me and you're not really seeing the potential of a rental vehicle like this, the fact is you have still found a way to save yourself some money on a temporary means of transportation for your vacation or business needs. So with that in mind, let's go enjoy this thing.